Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
What's up guys, I'm Andy. I'm going to be showing you how to remove and reinstall a wiper transmission in this 2014 Nissan Versa. If you need any parts for your vehicle, check out 1aauto.com. We removed the hood for the purpose of the video, but you don't have to remove the hood for this procedure. I'm going to take a 90-degree pick tool and we're going to remove this arm. We need to get underneath this cover here. There's a little slot. You just pull up on that. It's right there, and it's the same as on the driver's side. Now I'll take a 14mm socket and a ratchet. We'll take this nut off. Then we're going to grab the wiper arm. We're going to pull up and push down, just go back and forth with it. That's going to break it free. Pull it off. I'm going to use a trim tool. I'm going to remove these push clips. Just slide in underneath, pull them off. There's one here, there's one here. There's a total of 5 of these clips. And then the last one right here. I'm going to lift up, slide this out. This little insulation needs to be removed. Peel it off, just like that. Same on the other side. You can pull this off over here. There's all these clips that hold this trim on the cowl right here. Pull those off. We can pull it out of the way. We can disconnect the hose right here for the washer fluid. And just twist it. Just like that. We can remove the cowl. Next, we're going to pull this wiper, motor, assembly, transmission out of the way. I'm going to grab underneath here, disconnect the electrical connector, push down on the tab, pull out the connector, pull it out of our way. And I'll take a 10mm socket, remove these 3 bolts. And we can grab the transmission assembly and just pull it out. All right, to separate the wiper motor from the wiper transmission, what we're going to do is we want to check the location of the way this arm is. We want to mark it. I'm going to take a felt tip pen, and I'm just going to mark the location of where this is, so that when I go to put this together, kind of know where it was. Now if you were replacing the motor, you wouldn't be able to do this, but if you're replacing the transmission, then this is the way you want it to line up. Next, I'm going to take a 1 1/8 wrench, and And I'm gonna hold this arm from spinning. Just put it right there while I use a 14mm socket and a ratchet. I'm gonna take this nut off. Just like that. Now to get this arm up, I'm just gonna take a little pry bar. I'm just gonna pry underneath here. Pop that off, set that aside. I'm gonna take these two 10mm bolts out. There's a 10mm socket and a ratchet. Once they're loose, I can do it by hand. There we go. I'm going to take the motor and separate it from the transmission. So we're going to reinstall this transmission to the motor. Just line that up right there. Take this little bracket with the bolts in it. Get those started. I'll take a 10mm socket and a ratchet. We'll snug these up. All right, next we'll take this center cam. We'll slide this on here. And we want to, if you had marks before, you want to line the marks up. If you didn't, the best you can do is get it in the general area of how it was. We'll take the lock washer and the nut and reinstall that. We'll take our wrench so this cam doesn't spin while we tighten them up. And we'll tighten up the nut with the 14mm socket and ratchet and snug that up pretty tight. And we're ready to install this into the vehicle. Next, we can install this into the vehicle. We can connect the connector. You want to make sure the key is not on when you're connecting this connector, and keep your fingers clear of any of the arms. We'll slide this into position. Take the 10mm bolts, reinstall the bolts. Now I'll take a 10mm socket and snug these bolts down. So now we're going to install the cowl. We're going to maneuver it in a little bit. It's going to be a little bit tricky to get it in position. There's a lip underneath here that goes right up to the windshield. So you're going to want to do that. Get that down. Push it up. That looks like it's lined up good. And then these can go underneath. There's these little clips that go underneath the fender right here. You push them down by hand. You could also use a small screwdriver to get them to line up. like that. We're gonna hook up the washer fluid hose. Just line this up here. Press that back in, just like that. We're gonna install these little push clips. Line those up with the hole. Right there, this one. Push it down. One right here. So. Push it down. Push that one down. Pull this foam out. And if it doesn't stick too well, you can use a little bit of double-sided tape on that. Pull that one out as well. We're gonna turn the key on again in accessory mode because we want to just make sure before we put our wiper arms on that the transmission's in the correct spot. So we'll turn it to intermittent mode. And as you can see, it did a cycle. Once it stops the cycle, then we'll shut it off and turn the key off real quick. Now we know that the wiper transmission is in the park position and we can put our wiper arms on. All right, so we're gonna install the wiper arm. The position of where the arm goes, you can actually see where the dirt was from where the blade was. So we can put it back in that same position. You could also mark these locations with like a crayon, and that way you'd get it installed in the same position. Then I'll install the nut. And once that nut's on, we're going to take a 14mm socket and a ratchet, and we'll hold the arm while we snug this up. That's good. Once that's on and torqued, then we can put the cap on. All right, so I can torque this nut to 17 foot-pounds. We actually sell these torque wrenches at oneauto.com. We'll reinstall this wiper arm. We can see our window was a little dirty, so we can see the location of where the wiper blade was. You could also mark it with a crayon or a whiteboard marker, just to keep in reference for where the wiper was. Now we'll put the nut on. Now we'll snug this nut up with a 14mm socket and a ratchet. We can torque it with this torque wrench to 17 foot-pounds. We'll reinstall the cover, just line it up, press it on.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.